So yesterday we started with a basic program and even we have given some scenarios for your practice. I hope you people have done with those practice. I just want to create a small example on that Salesforce login script. Where is this? Yeah, there is the script. Copy it, paste it here, and go to this login.salesforce.com and here. So basically, what I thought is, I just want to handle this checkbox. So I have a given this scenario as an assignment for you, but I just want to try it from my end, show it from my end. So basically, this is having input a tag name, type as a checkbox, class, style ID, and a name. So I can pick the name property for this object, go back to the scripts, okay, driver dot find element by name dot a click. So just a second, guys. Just a second. So if you observe, I just used a simple click command here. Let me try to run my program. I'm just trying to execute my program here. Let us see how this is going to work. And usually a simple question will rise in our mind. Why are we using this particular click command? If so, whenever we are using a click a command, so we don't even understand basically what the checkbox is doing out over there, right? Whether the checkbox is in checking mode or unchecking mode, we don't know that. The simple click a command will be toggling the status of a checkbox, right? Click a command will toggle the status of a checkbox. It means if it is in a checked mode, it will uncheck it. And if it is in unchecked mode, it will check it. That's it. But it won't act as per the checkbox status. But I don't want to go in that way. First of all, I want to get the status and later, okay, first of all, I want to get the status and later I want to handle the checkbox. In order to do so, in WebDriver, we have a is selected command which will return a true if the checkbox is already checked. It will return a false if checkbox is in unchecked mode. Okay, that's fine. Let's go back to the program once. And here, basically, I don't want this username and a password. So here, desired object dot is selected. I'm just using an is selected. So here, the is selected outcome is a true or a false. It means it's a Boolean value. Whenever I mouse over on an is selected, it's displaying as a Boolean. So I'm storing it in a Boolean status is equal to. Okay, Boolean status is equal to driver dot find element by ID dot is selected. If status is true, System.out.println checkbox is already checked. Else, I want to check it. Dot click system.out.println checkbox is in unchecked mode and successfully checked it. So just some kind of a message I have created. Now, if you observe the Salesforce login screen by default, the remember me is always in an unchecked mode itself. So when I run my test script as a Java application, see if you observe the execution flow also. Let's go and see now. So it checked and the message is checkbox is in an unchecked mode and successfully handled this checkbox. Got it. Any questions for me, guys, or you are good so far? Is this point clear for you? Good. Done. So this command is a selected command, can be used on a checkboxes and a radio buttons also. Okay, in either of the cases, in both the places, we can use this a checkbox is a selected command. I have explained this one on this checkboxes. Now, I want you guys to practice this scenario on a radio button. See, basically, the three radio buttons are there. If you observe here, you have a three radio buttons: strict, moderate, and an off. By default, moderate is selected. So first of all, I want you to check whether this strict is selected or not, and based on that, you can perform this operation. Okay, based on that, we can perform this particular operation. That's it. This is the simple point which you need to consider. Got it, guys? Or any doubts on your scenario that you need to practice? This is the first scenario for today for your practice. Okay, every day, of course, we are going to give bunch. So today, the first scenario is handle radio button in Bing settings screen. So the URL is this one. Write down a program for this. Scenario 2. We will write again later. That's fine. Good enough. Guys, is this point clear for you? Kanya, Sai, Vagdevi, Vijaya. Am I clear for you?
Yeah, clear, sir.
Ah, okay, cool. Okay, okay, done the deal. And then the next point which we need to consider here is drop downs. Using a WebDriver program, how to handle drop downs. Okay, how exactly you are going to handle your drop downs in a WebDriver program? So to do that activity, I'm going to Salesforce account creation screen. In this account creation screen, you have a role drop down. See, this is a role and it's a drop down basically. So now I need to write down a program that will handle this drop down. So it means handling internally, it means it should select a value from the drop down, any one of the values from the drop down. By default, the drop down, it's not going to populate anything. Your job role is the default selection. We just need to select a value from the drop down. That's it. Okay, cool. Done the deal. So let us see a simple program, how exactly we need to do that. Okay, okay, good. So here, what I need to do right now in this, let us create a simple program again. So whatever the scenario we want to build, we just need to start with our program. And the first and a foremost thing in the program that we need to do is change the application URL and delete the unnecessary commands from that. I just changed the application URL and I deleted all the unnecessary commands from there. Now, to handle the dropdown, there are a multiple ways are there. The one among the way is a send keys command. Directly for send keys, you can pass the desired option value, which will be selected in the dropdown. That's it. Okay, so let's go back here and now right click on this dropdown, inspect. This dropdown has an ID property. Go back. So driver dot find element by dot ID dot send keys. So in the dropdown, there are a multiple values are there. I want to select a developer. I just passed a developer from this dropdown. Now let me try to run my test script and whether it is selecting that value or not. Run as a Java application, it's getting executed. See, let us notice here. See, the developer was selected in the dropdown. Good. So, guys, the thing that I need from you all is just one way how exactly we can select a value from the dropdown. Okay, and the next one is in WebDriver, we do have another way to select a dropdown. So, WebDriver is providing us one inbuilt class to handle dropdowns, which is a select class. WebDriver is giving us a select class. Using this select class, we can handle the dropdowns. Okay. Select class has various methods to select a value from the dropdown. So the first method that we have is by index, by visible text, by value property. Index. Every drop down option has its own index. 0 means the first value, 1 means the second value, 2 means the third value, like that. So we need to specify the index basically. And a visible text means whatever the text it is displaying for us, we can consider it as a visible text. And a value means every option in the drop down has a value property. You need to pass on the value property. And the only thing is, if the drop down HTML is starting with the select class, then only we can handle it. If not, we can't handle this. Okay, so let's go back. If I identified the HTML information of this drop down, inspect, see basically it is starting with a select class. It's just starting with a select class. And now on this select class, And if you observe this selector class here, selects the name of this drop down, and there is an expand symbol. With this expand symbol, whenever you click on an expand, all the options in the drop down are starting with the tag name as an option. All the options are starting with the tag name as an option itself. See, this is an option. Okay, anywhere we have an option here. And now what I need to do is from these options, okay, from these many options. So I would like to go see here, every option in the drop down is having a value property. And when can we use the desired text means just before ending the tag, if some text is displaying, we can treat it as a text displayed on that object. Okay, a text displayed on that particular object. So option tag is ending here. Before that, the text is displaying, which we can consider as a text on that object. Okay. For suppose 0th index, the first index out over here, the first option is your job role. The second option is a developer, third option, something like that. So first of all, we need to create an object to the select class. So create an object to this select class. So I'm just commenting it now. Select space S is equal to new select class. And this is an inbuilt class in a WebDriver. Just import it. And upon importing that, it's asking us to pass the drop down information. The reason is I'm a select class. I can work only on a drop down. So I need to specify the drop down information here. Whatever the drop down might be, I just need to specify the drop down information. That's it. So here, driver dot find element is my drop down. I'm just removing my send case. So driver dot find element is my object location. Whenever I mouse over on a find element, it's displaying as a web element. So web element dd drop down is equal to. So it means I can store my object information in a web element itself. So for this select a class, I am passing dd. If in a web page there are 10 different drop downs are there, I need to create 10 different objects for all those 10 different drop downs. Okay, 10 different select class objects for all the 10 drop downs. That's what I had to do. I have to do that particular piece in the real world. Okay, guys, I just created an object to the select class. We can either pass in this way. Okay, we can either pass it in this way, or the another way is select space S is equal to new select of. Here directly I can use driver dot find element by ID. For this select class, I can pass a direct driver dot find element, or I can store this driver dot find element into an object and then I can pass that information also. That's it. I can just pass on that information also. And now S a dot select by its index. Index means I'm giving it as a 2. Now, when I run my program as a Java application, let us see how this is going to work. See here, the second index value got selected. If I pass on index as a 1 and run my test script, the second option in the drop down will select. Index will start from 0. Zero index means first value in the drop down. One index means second value in the drop down. Two index means third value in the third value basically. 99th index means 100th value in the drop down. That's it. That's a simple point which you guys need to consider. Good. Any questions for me or you are good so far? Done up to here, guys.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, you first written like dot send keys as developer, right? So the in that we have given developer, so that will be like in the option value equal to developer, right?
This
So we
one,
will be giving that one or the
the
text
ending one.
name.
No, 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 no. So the value it should be whatever we need to pass is if the tag is ending here, na, option is the tag that is ending, na, before the tag, whatever the value is there, we will be passing this value.
Okay,
So
okay,
for
not the
everything,
value.
not the value attribute, the tag
Okay,
ending here, whether it
okay,
is a visible text or a text on a link or anything, we just need to pass the before value that is ending before the tag name.
okay, okay.
Okay, good. Done the deal. And then the next point which we need to consider here is okay. So once after we are done up to here, the next point that I need to do on top of this one, first of all, let me clear it. So we have a seen only one option which is by index. Let me comment this index as a dot select by value. Every option in the drop down has a value property. Say IT manager executive. Copy the value property, paste it here, and run your program and check out whether your program is selecting with respect to this value property or not. Okay, so it's getting executed. Let us see. See, the value property got selected. That's it. That's a simple point. And the last option is a visible text. As a dot select by visible text. And the visible text means it's the last text before ending that one. So copy it and paste it here. The visible text is the one that we will be passing for the send keys as well. I'm just passing it here. And now run the script as a Java application. It's getting executed and it will select the value. That's it. It got updated. This is the way how exactly we can select a value from a dropdown. So the second scenario is select a value from role and country dropdown SF account creation screen. See, basically, we just saw the role dropdown. Na? Below that, there is a country value also. Just select these two different scenarios. One for role, how I have explained all the three commands. Another program for a country, which should select all the three things. Okay. Is this scenario clear for you guys? What you need to do? Or any doubts on this? Cool. Done the deal. So this is the way. And on a drop down, using a selector class, there is a one more command which we have using which we can get all the values are present in the drop down too. How many values are there in the drop down? We can get all those values from the drop down using the selector class. How? S dot get options. Usually, a simple question will rise in our mind. For suppose in your real world, when you are working on your projects, you just need to select a value from a drop down, or you need to compare that all the five different options that we have are displaying or not. In such situations, we will be using this get options, which will be getting all the values from the drop down, which will be getting all the values from the drop down. Whenever I mouse over on that list of a web element, what is this list? List collection API in Java. which is used to store multiple values. List will accept duplicate values. List will accept duplicate values. Okay, list is a collection API in Java which will accept duplicate values. The collection APIs in Java was broadly categorized into list, set, and a map. These are the three collection APIs in Java. What is a list? List, set, and a map will store a multiple sets of values. Only difference is list will accept duplicate values. Set will not accept duplicate values. Map, key and a value pair. Map will be a key value pair there. Okay. Gets. This is the basic difference. We'll see, of course, moving ahead with an examples. And even in the interviews also, people will ask you, what is a collection APIs in Java? What are all the various collections we have used in Java? So we used a list now. So list of web elements. So the outcome for this one is a list of web elements. Web element means I know it's an object. List of web elements means a collection of multiple objects. So here string dd options equal to. I'm storing it an invalid return type. My Eclipse reader throwing an error message stating that, buddy, this is not a valid return type. Change your return type. So I'm just changing it to list of web elements. It should be Java utils list. Okay, Java utils list. I did that. So whatever the options are there in the select class or in the drop down, all the options are there in a DD options now. What are all the methods we can use on a list? What are all the methods we can use on any list? So the list dot first method is a size which will get total number of values present in it. Just count. If there are 10 values present in that, 10 count will be returned there. If there are 20 values are there, 20 count will be returned. If there are 30 values are there, 30 count will be returned. Add, which will add values to the list. Remove, which will remove values from the list. Contains, which will compare with another list. Contains all, which will compare with another list whether both are having same set of values or not. Okay, whether both are having a same set of values or not. Get, get of 0 for suppose. Select the first value in the list. Okay, select the first value in the list. Get. So what I'm doing right now means dd options dot get of 0. So whenever I selected get of 0, so basically in this list we are storing a web element. So it means a get of 0 itself is an object information. So if you observe, get of 0 itself is an object information, guys. So in this dd options dot get of 0, it's an object info. It basically contains a web element. See, it's a web element here. Dot in which I'm using get text command. Get text is a command which we are using in a WebDriver. Get text to get the text present on the object. So whatever the text is there on that particular object, this get text method will get the text for us. Okay, there's a get text method will get the text for us. So store this a get text and see here string text equal to, and let me print it, system.out.println text. Now When I run my test script as a Java application, it will be handling. Okay, it will be handling this. Let us see this stuff. See, your job role is got retrieved. For suppose if I change my index to 1 and if I run my program, I know that the second index in this role drop down is a developer. So it will be capturing, it will be retrieving developer to the console. See why I need to use this print statement here. Why can't I use a for loop and print down that information? For int I equal to 0, I less than dd options dot size I plus plus. And see here, whatever these two lines are there, copy it and paste it inside the loop. So the two lines of logic that we have created earlier, I just pasted here inside the for loop. And earlier we hard coded it with a one value. Now I'm changing it to an I. So it means that dynamically it will rotate in the for loop and it will print the values. So when I run my test script as a Java application this time, now it's getting executed and it should print down the values to the console. So let us see this stuff. See, all the values in the dropdown were printed down to the console. How many values are there in the dropdown? The complete list of dropdown values were printed down to the console. That's it. This is a simple scenario, guys. I hope this is clear for you all.